Good evening. For everyone who doesn't know who I am, my name is Dylan Lane, and today I'm going to be discussing ethics and how I relate to my future career. Now, ethics, according to the Doing Ethics book, is studying morality, and morality refers to beliefs that concern good and bad, and right and wrong. These beliefs are based upon your judgments, your values, your rules, your principles, and your theories. In other words, you can kind of think of ethics as your moral compass. It not only helps guide every decision in your life, it helps define your values, and it also helps define yourself as an individual. There are many important features I've learned in ethics thus far. However, I'll start with the basics, meaning the three major divisions of ethics: metaethics, normative ethics, and applied ethics. Metaethics is the study of meaning and logical structure of moral beliefs. Meaning, metaethics takes a step back. Instead of asking questions such as whether an action is right based upon a person's character, it asks questions such as what does it mean for an action to be right? How can moral principles be justified? It kind of searches for the origins behind moral principles. Normative ethics is the study of principles, rules, and theories to help guide our actions and judgments. We use normative ethics every day when we critically think. Normative ethics is more concerned with the content of moral judgments and the criteria for it is right and wrong. Lastly, we have applied ethics. Applied ethics is, as its name states, the application of moral norms to a specific moral issue. And they mainly apply to fields such as law, medical, and journalism. Applied ethics will definitely apply to my future career because I plan on being a Delaware State Trooper, and there's a lot of gray area of ethics in that field. There are various ethics I learned thus far in the class. The first, the premise of reasoning, and the second one being the principle of impartiality. We use the premise every day in our lives if you think about it. The premise of reason is our ability to use reasons, as stated in the name, to evaluate moral issues. These moral issues are based upon our ability to not only critically think, but just to use our common sense in general. Use just as much. The principle of impartiality, as in its name you could probably guess, is to treat everyone the same and to be equal. A lot of people in our society don't use this element, but I'm hoping one day there will be a society where everyone uses this element. There's no wars, there's no issues at all, just people living their lives. My future career I would like to pursue is specifically with the Delaware State Police. However, my current major is information technology and computers. Now, when you guys hear about this, you're probably like, this guy's crazy. Why would he want to do computers? And he obviously wants to become a Delaware State Trooper. Well, in high school, the career choice pathway or shop I chose was criminal justice. And after 4 years of taking that shop, I've learned that you can have a career in anything. You don't have to have it in criminal justice. You have it in anything. And, well, if my plan to become a Delaware State Trooper doesn't work out, I have a little bit of a fallback plan to work off of. So I'm not just out there like saying, oh, what do I do now? I just wasted 4 years of my life. So that's the reason why I like to become a Delaware State Trooper. So I guess that leads us to one last question. How could knowing ethics and many historical, ethical, moral theories help me in my future careers? For this question, I'm going to root off into two different directions, one for law enforcement, Delaware State Trooper, and one for IT, because I've decided to pursue either field. The first route I'll be explaining is the law enforcement route. As a law enforcement officer, hopefully at the Delaware State Police, I have to deal with a lot of ethical dilemmas that can range from different and various consequences. I think the best law enforcement perspective example I can think of is from the Doing Ethics book. In the Doing Ethics book, it states it doesn't matter whether the state executes a criminal who has a mental capacity of a 10-year-old. Well, if I was assigned to a court case where they had me evaluate the patient, I would say, well, let's apply some different ethics here. According to the principle of impartiality, we consider everyone to be equal, and they should be treated accordingly so. Well, if we treated him just like another criminal, depending on how the heinous act, which I'm sure if he was going to execute is heinous, well then, I would treat him just like a regular person. We would have to execute him. However, on the other hand, I would use act alternism, which I apologize in advance, so I know I said that wrong, which states that right actions are those that directly have the greatest overall impact. Well, if I treated this criminal, supposedly as a mental capacity of a 10-year-old, then I'm basically sentencing a 10-year-old to be executed. He may not know what he did was wrong. I think the best overall option for that scenario would be send him to rehab, let him get the help he needs, and evaluate him in a couple of years. So there, as you can see, that's just one scenario where we had a couple of consequences. As law enforcement officer, I have plenty of those. Another one I could think of that me and my mother were talking about the other day was, let's just say a 12-year-old finds a gun, which I know this might offend some people in advance. I apologize early, and he starts to harm the public with a gun. Well, as a Delaware State Trooper, a law enforcement, my duty is to uphold the law and to protect and serve the community. Well, I know it's wrong, and I would try other options besides shooting the kid, but if it comes to saving one life or letting the lives of many get endangered, I would unfortunately have to put the kid down. I know this seems harsh, but that's how it is. On a less sad note, I will also go to the IT route now. For a T route, I'm not sure if you all know who Edward Snowden is, but he's an American whistleblower. He became a traitor to the United States because he leaked classified information from the NSA when he was a CIA agent. If I may, I would like to read you guys 2 quotes from Edward Snowden that apply to the ethics in the IT field if I were to join the field. These programs were never about terrorism. They're about economic spying, social control, and diplomatic manipulation. They're all about power. The second being, studies have shown that human behavior changes when we know we're being watched. Under observation, we act less free, which means we effectively are less free. Edward Snowden is trying to say that the government has too much power. They're using it to spy on us when they could be using it for terrorism. I agree and disagree with Snowden. I disagree he shouldn't have leaked classified information because now he's a traitor to the United States, which I don't know how that really helped him, but I agree that the government does have too much power. However, most terrorist attacks on the United States happen from within the United States. So if you think about it, if the government had too much power, they would be able to stop a terrorist attack in the United States before it even happens. They would find it, instead of months, they would find it like in a couple hours. So I agree and disagree with Snowden on that matter. As an IT professional, I would like to become a security. So with the Delaware State Police, I could use my current IT degree that I plan on getting and using it to stop criminals on the dark web. However, if I become a security advisor or security admin with the Delaware State Police, I'll be looking at a lot of child porn, which I know sounds disgusting, but it's the truth. I'll be looking at stuff criminals have, and that violates what's morally right for me as a human. That's completely wrong, and I don't know if I'd be able to do that. So my plan is to uphold the laws of the Delaware State Trooper and going out and getting bad guys. I hope you all enjoyed this presentation. I have learned a lot of ethics. I enjoy learning about it. Every time I read a book, I'm excited to know what I'm going to read. And I thank you guys for your time and attention on this matter. Have a wonderful night.